Welcome on into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here answering questions that came in during our mailbag, which airs every single Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. First question coming in from Austin. Hi, Petey. Let's go Abdul Carter and Kirk Cousins. Also, could Donovan Peoples-Jones be an option for the Browns at receiver? Bring back DPJ? Man, remember, this is a real conversation that happened. People were talking about keeping DPJ over DeAndre Hopkins that summer. And I remember doing a video, I was like, stop it. Get some help. It's DeAndre Hopkins. Come on. No, I think DPJ might be out of the league. Like, he might get a August signing or something if an injury happens, but he was non-existent for Detroit the last 2 years. I don't think the Browns are going to bring him back. Austin, appreciate the question, though. Dolphin X, do you like the idea of the Browns drafting Carter at 2 and then us trading our round 2 pick to move up a few spots to get Shedeur Sanders? We did a whole video about this and what it would cost, so I invite anyone to go watch that video on the channel for more in-depth analysis on it. But surface level, I'm open to the idea. I'm not going to all of a sudden make a complete 180 and go like, oh, I've always liked Shedeur Sanders a lot as a prospect. No, I still don't think he's going to be a franchise quarterback for a team, and I really don't think that's going to happen in Cleveland because I think he needs to go to a situation where he can sit and develop for a year or two and then step into a good spot. And right now, the Browns offense is not in a good spot for a quarterback who I don't think has enough tools to elevate everyone around him. So I'm open to it because I still get Abdul Carter out of this situation, and it likely cost you your second and your third round draft pick, and those 2 picks might be worth the flyer on Shedeur Sanders. So I'd grade it at like an A-, mostly because of what Abdul Carter can do for you at number 2. Soul Train, how much did the bad O-line / scheme hurt the run game? I'd say a lot. Remember after the year was over, it came out that Mike Vrabel was more or less the de facto offensive line coach for the team. Andy Dickerson was fired. He was a one and done. And while there were a lot of injuries up front and the offensive line was just getting a bit older and kind of regressing at some places, the coaching and everything around that was under the microscope and fingerprints of Andy Dickerson was turned to dust. So I'm choosing and willing to believe that a lot of the blame can be placed right there. Laserbeam, should the Browns draft Kaleb Johnson even if Chubb is brought back? We can do the Hunt and Chubb experiment again. Yes. Kaleb Johnson is my number 2 running back in this class after, of course, this guy from Boise State. But I'd say regardless of what happens with Nick Chubb, I would like to see Kaleb Johnson in a Browns uniform. I just think he's going to be a tremendous back. I don't want to say he reminds me of Nick Chubb because it's a very high bar, but I think his play style might be in between Chubb and like David Montgomery. Whereas like Montgomery is definitely a bit of a bowling ball type back, and while Chubb is not some like speed demon, he's got good getaway speed when he gets loose. Johnson probably does not have that level of getaway speed, and that's what puts him in between the two, but I like the idea a lot of the Browns drafting Kaleb Johnson. Jeep Wolf. So how many quarterbacks will we need this season how many quarterbacks will we need this season and any other position spots that need addressed? Well, I mean, I think the Browns are going to add 3 more quarterbacks to this roster. I think they're going to add 2 in the draft and 1 more in free agency or trade, like a trade for Kirk Cousins, for example. I don't think they're going to go into training camp with only 3 healthy quarterbacks. Forget Deshaun Watson. He is not playing for this team all season long. He is still recovering from his Achilles injury. He is not going to be a part of the off-season workouts or anything like that. So I think the Browns are going to add at least 2 more quarterbacks, but I think they're really going to add 3 more. As for other position spots, I think tackle is still one. We have not seen DeJuan Jones finish a season. So I don't have a ton of faith in him being this team's long-term solution at left tackle. I don't think it's a bad idea to bring in a new left tackle and let that guy and Jones duke it out for the starting role. Running back, of course, I think you need a new backup tight end. Plus, if you don't plan on giving Njoku a contract extension, you're going to need an Njoku replacement in a couple of months when 2025 is over with. On defense, depending on what JOK status is, you might want another linebacker, but you've already added a few so far in the offseason and as of late. Safety is another position. You lost Rodney McLeod to retirement. D'Anthony Bell signed with the Seahawks. That leaves Ronnie Hickman and Grant Delpit, of guys who served a meaningful role last year coming back for this season. So there are a couple of positions right there for you. Kevin, rather than trading up from 33 and losing a third-round pick, would it be better to pass on Carter and trade down to still get a solid first-round pick and add additional second and third-round picks? So Kevin's referencing this trade idea that I cooked up in which the Browns go from 33 to 24 and get Shedeur Sanders if he begins to slide in the draft. I would rather stay put at 2 and take Carter than get a few more draft picks. The only thing that's going to move me off of this is if you can get a first-round pick next year and you're getting it from a team you think is going to stink. If you can get like the Raiders or the Jets, right? Someone who's picking top 10 that you feel like could be an early first-round pick next year to jump all the way up, I'm willing to play ball. I don't think you're going to get anyone calling for the number 2 pick. I just don't think it's a draft class where teams are, climbing up the board to try and get their number 1 guy. So would I do it? Adding more picks always sounds fun. I'd rather stay put and take the more surefire thing than a couple of possibilities. Roy, due to worst kicker season in 2024, what about Dustin Hopkins? I think the Browns are probably just going to have this mindset of, listen, last year a lot went wrong, and you're not off the hook for it, but we've got bigger fish to fry than the kicker. So take the next couple of months to figure your shit out, and we look forward to 2023 Hopkins coming out in 2025. Thomas, PD scenario for you. 4th, 6th, and next year 3rd for Brandon Aiyuk. Sign Ryan Tannehill off the couch. Draft Abdul Carter. 2nd round, I think you mean Emeka Egbuka. 3rd round, Josh Simmons and Kyle McCord. 4th round, Travion Henderson. All right, let's go bit by bit here. 4th, 6th, and next year 3rd for Aiyuk. Sounds like the Niners are not interested in trading Aiyuk. They also, on April 1st, got on the hook for like $20+ million in guarantees. So if there was a time to trade him, it would have been before that. Now, the offer has to go up since they are owing him more money and he wouldn't even be on their team. So that, to me, would not be enough. As for signing Ryan Tannehill, there's been some level of traction around that. I'd probably rather just go with Carson Wentz. Tannehill was bad 2 years ago, and he's been off for a full season. So, I do think like Ryan Tannehill, when at a good level, would be a great fit for the Browns. I think the last couple of years in Tennessee are a better reflection as to who he is now as a quarterback. Abdul Carter at 2, check. Emeka Egbuka at pick 33. I just don't think receiver is that pressing of a need for a team that's still looking for their quarterback. So I'd probably rather go a different direction. But you're still getting a good player out of it, so I won't be too upset overall. 3rd round, Josh Simmons. I like that. His recovery has been remarkable. And Kyle McCord, sure thing. I don't think Travion Henderson gets past round 3, but if he's there in round 4, yeah, I'm in. Christopher, what's the point we get an old QB and lose rather than getting a young QB and learn while losing? Great question, Christopher. The difference is, on one scenario, you have a very good player for the future in Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. In the other scenario, you're losing and you don't have a cornerstone piece for the future in Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. So yes, if you win 5 games with Kirk Cousins versus 5 games with Shedeur Sanders, I'd rather lose 5 games with Shedeur Sanders because at least he has a future in this league beyond 1 or 2 seasons. But you are excluding in the Kirk Cousins side, this guy named Abdul Carter is on the team as well, and he's going to be really good for us. Myles Garrett won how many games his rookie year? And I'd still think that was a very good draft pick. So you can't forget that part of the equation. Duck Life Official, which QB in this year's draft will have the worst career? I'm going to go with Jackson Dart. And the reason why I say that is because I don't think Will Howard or Kyle McCord will ever actually get a full look as a team starter from week 1. They'll probably start some games at some point. Like an injury is going to happen, right? Or a benching might happen. But I think Jackson Dart could be looked at as, hey, we're going to make you our week 1 starter. And between him, Shedeur, and Ward, that's probably going to go the worst for him. Next question coming in. Josh, I look at the number 2 pick this way. Who has the best chance of being a multiple-time Pro Bowler or All-Pro? To me, that's Abdul Carter. Yes. Preach it from the mountaintops. Would it be nice or great if it was a quarterback? It'd be splendid. But it's not there. So I'm not going to force it. Josh, completely agree with this. Dylan, what's going on, dude? What are your thoughts on Quinn Ewers? He's got really good arm talent, huge prospect coming out of Texas high school. We obviously know goes to Ohio State for the NIL money. Then he comes to, Texas to play for the school he wanted to play for all along. I felt like Quinn Ewers last year had really good games in some of their biggest moments. Like when they went to Michigan, he was outstanding. When they went to, they had a road. He had some bad games too, don't get me wrong. But I think the knock for Ewers is the lack of health. Back-to-back seasons where he has missed considerable amount of time and the inconsistency. But knowing the arm strength and the ceiling, I wouldn't hate that second, third round pick being used on him. For reference, that kind of pick was used on Siaka Ika. So it's not like you're guaranteed this bona fide starter at that spot anyway. And if Siaka Ika or Quinn Ewers pans out more, which one would you rather have? The quarterback or the big fatty? I would take the quarterback. Jake Heat, does the location of stadium and its roof matter to anyone if the team is winning? Precisely. If the Browns are winning, no one for a 4-0 Browns team is going to show up to the game going, we should be playing by the lake right now. Now, the flip side is that the Browns are losing for how much it costs some of the fans and whatnot, like season ticket holders, to keep their season tickets, move to the suburbs, and continue to watch a bad product. That's going to be tough. Kathy Sidlecki, if you are the Bears, would you trade picks with the Browns? Probably not, no. I think the Bears have made, they do have a lot of picks this year. They've got pick number 10. They have 2 second-round draft picks, their own second-round draft pick and the Panthers' second-round draft pick. But I think actually, I'll back that up. If the Bears could really get up to number 2 and get Abdul Carter, I think they would do that. It would probably cost them both their second-rounders and maybe a first next year, and that feels steep. But jumping from 10 to 2, when the Niners went from 12 to 3 to get Trey Lance, it cost them 3 first-round draft picks. So 2 seconds and a first from 10 to 2, that might be the going rate. And Abdul Carter might be worth that. So if you were the Bears, would I do that trade? Probably not, because I still think that they could build a really good roster with 3 more picks for a team that needs a lot of good players and not one great player. Jeremy, nuts and bolts, just a $50 super chat we got during our live show. Shout out to Mr. Stallman for being a huge supporter of the channel. Appreciate you, Jeremy. All right, let's wrap it all up here by picking a card. Mr. Reed, which card do you want to go with?
Let's see. How about 2 of clubs?
2 of clubs. I'm going to go with, give me 8 of diamonds. No. 4 of clubs. 4 of clubs. No one got it right in the chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. If you haven't yet, hit the like button on your way out. And if you're still watching, drop a CLE for me in the comment section. You know I love the end of the video, crew.